Hello everybody, it's me again, Jamie, aka Izanagi. Today I decided I wanted to do a video review on a game called Persona 5 The Phantom X. It's a game that recently came out. It's, if you've already played Persona, if you're already familiar with the Persona series, it's basically a combination of Persona with gacha. And it just released recently. About a week ago now. I think it's been out about a week I've been playing the game. The Western release. For Korea, it's been out in Korea for about a year now. I would say about a year. And it's still getting new content, etc, etc. Now, first of all, as you can see, it's basically Persona 5. I'm running around Shibuya. You see, it's got the same graphics, the same music, and pretty much the same combat system. It's essentially Persona 5 fused with the gacha element, like I said before. I would say, how would I compare the story to Persona 5? Because I think that's the main thing that probably people be wondering about if they're long-time Persona fans, because that's the main draw of the games, is the story and the characters. I would say this game, the first palace you do, I would say the story's pretty decent. It's interesting. Obviously, there's going to be certain roadblocks you hit in this game, since it's a gacha, where you need to be like a certain level, or you need like a certain level personas. So, in a way, it's best not to treat this like a traditional Persona game. Understand that you are going to have to, like, oh, maybe I have to come back here like in another day or two to beat this boss because I'm underleveled. I mean, you can still try and beat the boss underleveled. Nothing is stopping you. Obviously, you'll just have a more difficult time. It'll be more challenging. So it's not like Persona 5 where you can just like blitz through the game like 120 hours. There are going to be instances where you're going to have to stop and grind. Maybe take a day or two. But in terms of the story, the first palace, it's a bit goofy. If you go online, there's like memes about the subway slammer, and it's kind of like goofy, But I would say overall, in terms of the actual palace design, it's the palace. Also, the palaces in this game are like really huge. There's a lot of puzzles, and there's a lot of like nooks and crannies you can explore. Tons of treasure chests, and that was the first palace I did. And the first palace is essentially the smallest one. It's got like, it's almost like basketball kind of theme to it. No, not basketball, baseball, sorry. I got my sports mixed up. And it's very interesting. I'd give the first palace like maybe like a 7 out of 10. But really for me, when the story really got rolling was in the second palace. That's when I feel like the writing got a lot better. From what I was told is they booted the guy who did the who was basically the lead story writer behind the first palace, because it got kind of negative reviews in Korea, and people were like, yeah, this ain't it, bro. And so they actually replaced that writer with the writer who did both Persona 5 Strikers and Persona 5 Royale. Now, obviously, if you know how good Persona 5 Royale is, that Persona 5 Royale is amazing. The extra semester, all the additional new characters and content is great. Like, Persona 5 was like, personally for me, like a 9 out of 10. Persona 5 Royale is basically just like the cherry on top of the cake. That excelled it to like a 4 on solid 10 out of 10. It was great. It was a great addition. Awesome. So yeah, so what I would say is the story does get better in this game. In terms of the characters, I will say the characters, they're very likable. Now, in this game, instead of, you know, an annoying cat, we get an owl who's actually less annoying. Yes, there's a character less annoying than Morgana. I know people say Teddy's annoying too, but I actually don't mind Teddy from Persona 4. So, Luffy the owl is quite interesting. And then, your first party member you get is a girl called Motoha, and she kind of takes like almost like the role of like Anne and Ryuji, kind of like fused together with like a mixed, with a bit of a sprinkle of Chie on top. That's the best I could describe her character. And obviously for the second palace, there's another character called Shun you get introduced to, and he's pretty cool too. Now, because this is obviously a fusion, a amalgamation, as you will, of Persona and Gacha, just how is the Gacha system itself? So, in terms of the actual Gacha system for this game in particular, I would say it's pretty much industry standard. I'll show you. So, it's the kind of, I would say, Genshin Impact kind of system that a lot of other Gacha games kind of took from, where you have essentially 80 pools, and then it's like soft pity, and then it's a 50-50 chance whether you get the banner unit, which at the moment is Joker. Yeah, looking cool Joker, definitely one of my favorite Persona 5 characters. So it's a 50-50 chance between Joker and one of the standard 5-star units. And then if you get all the way to, if you have the unfortunate luck and despair of having to go to hard pity, you will be guaranteed him at least at 160 pulls. So, as someone who has played numerous other gacha games like Honkai Star Rail, Withering Waves, Zenda Zone Zero, I played Genshin Impact for a bit. Back in the day, the very first gacha game I played was Dokkan Battle. I played Dokkan Battle. I played Cucks, which is basically Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. I played Final Fantasy: The City Opera Omnia. So I have played quite a few gacha games. So if you are familiar with like kind of like the mainstream gachas, it essentially has the same kind of pull system as those like Genshin Impact, etc., etc. I would say in terms of the currency, the game is pretty generous with the currency. I say you get quite a decent amount from doing just like the story content and optional content, as you can see from here. Oh, interesting note, which I almost forgot, is in the Korean version, there's actually a hard pity banner. So, essentially, you spend 110 pulls, and you are guaranteed the character. There is no luck. There is no flipping a coin to whether you win or lose the 50-50. It's just pure on. If you spend X amount of summons, you get the character, which is a great system, I think, by the way, because it just removes all that annoying RNG aspect. You know what you're going to get for exactly how much you're going to spend. Unfortunately, they didn't give us for the global version. It currently is in the Korean version, so hopefully a few patches in the future we will get it implemented in global, which is definitely a feature we should have got at launch, but hey, it is what it is, I suppose. Okay, let's exit it. I will show you some of the characters you can get. Actually, what am I doing? Oh, wait, Thieves. Okay, here we go. No, not the Velvet Room. I didn't want to go to the Velvet Room. I'm sorry, Eagle. I will see you and your big nose later. Okay, so this is essentially your protagonist, and he works very similar to the other Persona games. He's the wild card, so you can use multiple personas on him, and you can fuse different personas. So he's always going to be in your main party as the main character. You can't really change him out. Here we have Luffy. He is also a character you get from the main story. He, like I said before, he's basically plays the Morgana role in this game. In terms of the game, he's like a healer, which you really need in the early game. A healer is very useful, so this character is definitely a must use. You get him for free anyways. Here we have Motoha. She is the second character you get from the first palace. She's very cheerful and she's athletic, so a mixture of Anne and Ryuji, I'd say, if you want a Persona 5 comparison. She essentially excels in lightning damage and AoE lightning damage. And here we have our main man Shun. This guy is an actual fucking tank, no pun intended. He's a literal tank, and he will be on your team there to tank up damage. In terms of personality, how to best describe him, he would probably be like kind of like the silent brooding type, but once you get to know him, he's like a really cool dude. He's got like a kind heart, so I would say he's actually reminds me of Kanji a bit of Kanji. And he can also cook a really good ramen. And here we have, these are some more of the original characters. Here we have Joker, Anne, and Morgana. Here's some original characters from the game. These are called Phantom Idols. So the difference between these characters and the main characters you get is that they are not main characters in the story, but these are people you meet as confidants. Confidants, not confidant. Now, some of these you haven't interacted with in the story yet, but eventually they become social links. So this is so how it works in this game. Wanda can basically imagine how people he meets would look as Phantom Thieves, and these are basically what Phantom Idols are. These are essentially people you meet as social links that Wanda imagines how they would be as like actual Phantom Thieves, but they aren't technically in the main story. They are, but I mean as social links, slash confidants, if that makes sense, right? So that's what all these characters are. Which makes sense, you know, in terms of like the gacha. Oh yeah, I don't have Ryuji yet, but I do plan on getting Ryuji soon. My boy is definitely coming home. Damn, I got a sore throat from all this talking, goddamn. It's not easy doing commentary. But yeah, those are all the characters, and also you have activities here where you can do social links, just like the main game, where you can go work part-time, level up your stats, social stats here. Charm, kindness, proficiency, guts, knowledge, same stuff you had in Persona 5. And I will quickly do this. And here you have basically, this is where the combat takes place. This is the current palace I'm on. The path of Ayatopus is basically mementos, where you go around. Luffy will transform into the iconic car, just like Morgana does in P5, and you just roam around. It's good for like just like grinding and like collecting chests. The Realm of Repression, this is basically where you spend your stamina to get materials to like level up your characters, to promote them, to upgrade their weapons, persona skills, etc, etc. If you're familiar with gacha games, that's pretty much what that is. The Velvet Trials are essentially kind of like end game content where you like use different teams to clear certain trials. The same with Trials from the Sea of Souls. Nightmares Gateway is kind of like a boss rush mode where you essentially take a team and you do as much damage as you can to like a super boss, and depending on whatever score you get reflects the awards you get. I'm still a bit early in the game, so I haven't really experimented much with this yet, because obviously my account is still about a weekish old and I'm still leveling up my characters, so not too ready yet for the end game, but this game does have a lot of stuff to do. And you know, I'll go and explore a bit here just to show you what the palaces are like. I won't obviously go into too many spoilers, but where is a good place? Okay, here. We'll start here. As you can see, this palace is like very Edo period Japan inspired. And we'll get into combat. Now I am very over leveled for this, but okay. Just show you some of the animations. Plays just like Persona. Now we're hitting with the weakness. Now the all-out attack. Oh, actually no, I want to show you some of the ultimates. They look cool. I really like Motoha's one. I'll show you. This one's pretty cool. Stricko! Yeah, that one is cool. Okay, I really like that one. Her ultimate's sick. Okay, so the TLDR pretty much is this. If you are a fan of Persona and you don't mind gacha games, because I understand with a lot of people in the Persona fandom, when they hear the word gacha, it's very ooh, it's like, ugh, get that shit away from me. And like, obviously I understand, right? Because at the end of the day, the gacha monetization model is predatory, right? Whether you want to admit it or deny it. But if you're a hardcore Persona fan and you can put up with the gacha system, it's not a deal breaker for you, I would say you should try this game out. I would say it's from what I played so far, it's fun. You can play this game completely free to play. I know sometimes it might be difficult to, like, you know, have self-control and not be like, oh, look at this new character, I really want them, and to spend money. But so far I've been free to play. I did buy the monthly pass. Generally when it comes to these games, that's my kind of like, the thing I do is I buy like the monthly like £5 pass. Sometimes I might buy the battle pass, but generally it's just the £5 one. So I understand that. But if you don't mind the gacha elements of this game, I would definitely give it a try, because it's free anyways, right? You can just try it, and if you don't like, you don't feel it's for you, then, you know, it is what it is. You gave it a go. But for any hardcore Persona fan and you don't mind the gacha, go for it. I know I'm repeating myself here, but that's pretty much what I would say. As someone who loves Persona 5, I have played Persona 5 Strikers, which essentially is a spin-off. I would say this is on the level of Strikers so far in terms of like the story, the characters, and the writing. It's getting better and better. I haven't played the new I haven't played Persona 5 Tactica yet, which I want to do at some point. What's put me off about that game is kind of like the chibi art style of it, which I know is kind of like very shallow and judgmental, just to judge the game based off the graphical style, because it might actually be decent. I have seen it's kind of like it's a strategy RPG, right? So I might give that a go one day. But anyways, that is pretty much my review of Persona 5 The Phantom X. I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. I'm looking forward to future updates of this game and patches. We're going to get new characters, not only from Persona 5, but currently in Korea, they got Persona 3 characters that are out. They got Makoto Yuki, they got Yukari Tabaka, and they got Akihiko. And I'm really, really looking forward to eventually when they do Persona 4 characters. And you never know, because Sega's actually really popular to doing this, is getting collabs with different series. So Metaphor ReFantazia would fit perfectly too, as well as like a collab as a different franchise. I can't wait to play Hulkenberg. Imagine that, playing Hulkenberg, Heismei. Great. Or even Luis. Imagine playing as Luis as a playable character, like a villain. But anyways, would highly recommend the game, and that's pretty much it. I don't want to blabber on anymore, and peace out, guys, and bye bye.